Harley Davidson sales are plummeting round the world. Watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So news coming out of Harley Davidson. Yeah, they're still in this kind of embroiled in this tariff war by Donald Trump, and it's how it's really affecting them. But last video, I kind of talked about the American market, how these tariffs might affect the American sales, let's say. But in this video, we're talking about actually how this is going to affect global sales, which basically accounts for half of Harley Davidson's sales around the world in totality. You got half around the world, and let's say half in the United States, there or thereabouts. Whilst the United States is their biggest market, of course, their biggest market share, if you count for all motorcycle sales, it's a kind of around about half, or maybe slightly skewed towards the United States. But the sales are down everywhere, but certainly around the world. So what is the problem here, and what is the future outlook? Well, the problem with the tariffs is that not only is it going to make it more expensive for motorcycles produced in the United States or made in the United States, assembled, because of component charges from imports around the world and raw materials around the world, of course. This is one thing we can all agree on. But it's the retaliation tactics, or the retaliation from other countries. We're saying that if you're going to export your goods to our country now, well, you've imposed this tariff and we're going to impose this tariff on you. So in other words, let's just say in the UK, it's really expensive anyway to import American products, Harley Davidson being one of them. It's going to be really expensive to import those. Now, they tried to get around this, Harley Davidson, by producing the European destination Harley Davidsons in Thailand. And then basically they would ship them over from Thailand to try and avoid those tariffs, those import tariffs. But actually, the European Union said, no, that doesn't work. You're an American company, therefore you're still classed as American goods, regardless of where they're coming from. So that was a bit of a shot on the arm for them. So that means the bikes are already expensive. Now you increase these tariffs on American imports. So that means the importers in Europe have to raise their prices. The bikes are already exceptionally expensive anyway, and you're seeing dramatic changes. Now, if the industry in Europe wasn't bad enough in terms of Harley Davidson, just let me give you an insight here. Over the last sort of 2 years, I can think of, it's got to be over 10 Harley Davidson dealerships that are closing down. Just the other day, somebody in the comments said, yeah, another 2 Harley Davidson dealers are closing down as well. So they're closing down all over the place. And this is kind of replicated around Europe as well. People love Harley Davidsons. It's not about they don't love the bikes. I love the bike as well. But it's about the affordability of buying those bikes. So if the tariffs are going up, that means the prices are going up. And not just the price of the initial purchase, it's the price of everything. Parts, accessories, whatever it is, that all goes up. So it becomes too much of a stretch for people to go and buy that. Now, I always say, go into the used bike market, buy a bike that's already there in this country. You don't have to pay any import tariffs because the bike's already been imported. But obviously, if you're going to buy parts for it, then obviously, you're going to have to try and source them elsewhere or whatever it is. But you still might be subject to those increased costs. So it's an expensive game buying a Harley Davidson. It's just going to be even more now. And that's why the sales are going to plummet. You're talking in some cases, a Harley Davidson, certainly one of the bigger ones now, in certain countries which have big import duties anyway, import taxes of vehicles coming into the country. Let's say Denmark, for example. I think they have to pay a 50% tax, I believe, on any vehicle that comes into the country. This is on top of any import tariffs as well. It's a crazy situation. So the cost of a motorcycle, let's say a Street Glide, is actually the cost of a small house. It's just insane. So if what you're going to do as a person, as a family member, are you going to buy a house? If you're going to buy something, protect your family, provide for your family, or you're going to buy a motorcycle? Let's face it, most people are going to put that money somewhere sensible. If it's one or the other, home for the family or a ride at the weekend, you're going to go for home for the family, aren't you? Just the way it is. Now, if the bikes were a lot cheaper, of course, then obviously you try and do both. You have a home for the family and a little bike as well. But this means that if you want a motorcycle in any of the European countries, you're going to go for a cheaper option. Now, that's not to say that people won't buy Harley Davidsons even at the increased prices, even if they're, exceptionally expensive. Of course they will, but it's the numbers. The numbers will dramatically reduce. Now, this is in European countries, let alone in other countries around the world, where they might be struggling financially as well, where they really are seen as a luxury item. Now, maybe in some of those countries, because only the super rich, let's say, would be able to afford them anyway, then maybe it's only the super rich will continue to buy those motorcycles. But we really are pushing in Harley Davidson into a very narrow band here, where only people with deep pockets can afford them. And, maybe we've been saying this for a long time, but they're not for the everyman. And unfortunately for Harley Davidson, this is certainly around the world, certainly around Europe. It seems as if these sales are going to plummet. They've already plummeted. We've had lots of dealership closures. It seems as if they're going to go down even further. And this is going to be a direct result of retaliation tariffs from countries who are getting a raw deal from Donald Trump's tariffs, which he feels he's doing the best for his country, of course. But the knock-on effect is it's bad for business, it's bad for Harley Davidson. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the affordability of Harley Davidsons now, or certainly going forward? Not just Harley Davidsons. I mean, this is for Europe, especially. This is all American products. Now, somebody was saying the other day, a very interesting businessman or well-known businessman here in the UK, he's got a TV show as well. So Alan Sugar, if you don't know, in the UK, you'll know who he is. But he was saying, well, really, how many products do we buy from the United States? Actually, there's not that much, apart from, bourbon, Jack Daniels, Harley Davidsons. In terms of, GDP, it's not a massive amount because we don't import cars from the United States. They're just too big for our roads. We just don't import them. Yeah, small amounts, but not that many. So in terms of overall imports, it's not that much, and we've just been lumped with a 10% import tariff as well. So let's say at least the price is going to go up 10%, but in some countries it's going to go up 15-20% or whatever it is. It's not a good time for Harley Davidson anyway over the last few years, and this has just hit them right between the eyes. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos, and I'll catch you again. Bye now.